We are at the Wood Creek Pub with the Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance. Please come check out our Facebook page, like it, share it, whatever other things they do with social media. But more importantly, we want to talk a little bit about the importance of business law. And if you're a small business, what do I need to understand about business law, and what are they going to do to protect me? Or are they just trying to get my money? Right? So Casey, how long have you been doing business law?
Since 2003.
Wow, almost 15 years. That's incredible. And here in Rockwall, you have your own law firm, Ashmore and Ashmore. How long you been doing that?
I've been here just about 5 years.
5 years. Pretty good client base here.
I feel really blessed to be able to work and practice law here, mostly in Rockwall County in North Texas.
Right. So being a lawyer, I mean, you had different categories, different fields of law to be able to practice. Why would you choose business law? What brought you into that?
Well, what brought me into it was, like many things, it was just a client need. My first, one of the first experiences I had was just setting up a family member with a new business entity, and then it kind of just took off from there.
What do you mean by a new business entity? Can you kind of expand on that? Was it?
Yes. Texas has, we're open for business in Texas, and it's very easy to incorporate, and we have multiple types of businesses. The most common and most liked right now is the LLC, the Limited Liability Corporation, because it offers a host of protections and simplicity that isn't available for your typical corporation, CORP, or incorporated entity, INC period. And a lot of people like the LLC because of those protections and because of the simplicity it offers.
Okay, perfect. Is that really difficult to set up? I mean, I hear all these different Secretary of State. We got to go down to the county. We got to file this paper. We got to file that paper.
Right.
We got LegalZoom willing to help. We got lawyers that are trying to help small businesses set their companies up. I mean, is this really that difficult to form an LLC here in the state of Texas?
It's really not. It's a filing fee with the Texas Secretary of State and some paperwork. It costs about $330 to get it on an expedited basis. All that gets you, though, is a certificate of formation and a registration with the Secretary of State, and then an obligation on a yearly basis to file a public information report and a franchise tax report with the Secretary of State to stay in their good graces. It doesn't get you other things like a governing document, and for those of you who don't know what that is, and I didn't know what it was the first time I did one, but it's like, think of the Constitution of the United States of America. It's the document that sets forth the rights and duties of the owners and shareholders and investors of that corporation.
Would it be fair to say it's the Articles of Incorporation?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Annual meetings that we have to do. And so I thought only corporations, S Corps and C Corps, had to do Articles of Incorporation and business meetings. But what you're saying is we should. If you have an LLC, we definitely should be maintaining those minutes, those logbooks, in case our company ever gets audited?
Something like that, or more importantly, if you have a shareholder who becomes disabled, who gets divorced, who has to file for bankruptcy, these things, you want to think about these on the front end instead of on the back end, because some people, Michael and I, we may be best friends, but you may not want to be a business owner with an ex-wife, or with, let's say, there isn't an ex-wife. What if it's just the heirs of the estate? And then now you have all these young children who are now suddenly have an equitable share in your business entity. And how do you deal with that? It's easier to deal with that with a governing document than without.
Absolutely, because everything is clear, documented, it's black and white, and it alleviates the guessing game.
Right.
I will say though, just as we keep going on, if anybody's got any questions, I'm kind of the notes guy. If you have questions, please write it into the Facebook Live. I'll be happy to pass it along to Casey as they go through the interview.
Appreciate that, Aaron.
Yes, sir.
So
he's the scribe. That's what we call that, the scribe.
Somehow I became the secretary.
I gotta pretend I'm the scribe. I can't write worth a shit. So at any rate, what are three top things that businesses really need to know about when getting ready to start their own company?
Okay.
What do we need to know?
The top things are get behind the corporate veil. Your personal assets are at risk if you're doing business as a DBA, which is basically just a pass-through to you individually. If Doc's Roofing didn't have an LLC or whatever entity, or same with that means your personal assets everything but your homestead are at risk. You need to get behind the veil no matter what it is, no matter who, even if you're using something like, one of those third-party vendors you talk about to set up your company. Get it done, get it set up, get behind the veil, get that protection.
So DBA, what is this DBA?
A DBA is a doing business as. It's like a $10 to $15 filing. You file it down at the Rockwall courthouse or the Dallas courthouse. And many years ago, I had before I did this, I restored classic cars, and I formed a DBA for my classic car business. And it was just a way to track expenses and what have you. So it wasn't all personal assets. But if anything ever, let's say one of those classic cars caught on fire, all my personal assets are at risk. I have no corporate protection for my personal assets from any liabilities from that entity. So that's the downside to a DBA.
Okay. So in the greater scheme of things, let's protect our corporate assets.
Yeah, and our personal assets.
And our personal assets.
Right, let's put them behind the veil.
Behind the corporate veil,
right,
folks.
Right.
Okay. Is there any liabilities, risks that I should be aware of?
There's liabilities in anything you do, especially anybody who's got a corporation that's got a footprint out in the community. If you're selling goods and services, what I would tell you to do is get involved with your local chamber of commerce, find yourself a good insurance agent. There's plenty of them here in town. Wimpy Agency, Galleon Insurance, I can name them more than half a dozen, and they're all wonderful chamber partners, and they will instruct you on the right way to shield your company in an inexpensive way from the liabilities. You're in the roofing business, I'm in the professional services business, Aaron's in the financial services sector. All of us need to carry some sort of insurance for injuries, work comp, this, that, the other, and it's just like car and house insurance. You want it, go ahead and get it. Don't be afraid of liability, just embrace it and protect yourself.
So I'd rather have it, not need it, than need it, not have it.
It's like deep sea fishing. If you don't have it, you'll want it.
You'll want it, right? So I totally get that. How important is a business's word, their bond, their integrity when it comes to running your business and staying in compliance with law and staying in compliance with these several different regulatory agencies that can be out there depending on what type of business you're in? How important is your word, your integrity? Businesses, I feel, need to know that their integrity should not ever be for sale. Because that's what people are going to know you as.
Right.
So I'm sure you've ran across businesses that maybe had skirted the right path, right, or the wrong path,
yes,
and they've had repercussions.
Right. You got to get them back on the straight and narrow. Now, one thing I will say is that you said a moment ago, integrity. Your word is your bond. We're all small business owners, and your word is kind of sacrosanct. Not kind of, it is, and it's sacrosanct to the two most important people in your business, and they're not you. They are the people who work for you. You made a covenant. You make payroll. That's the way it is.
Pay your people.
The other covenant you made is your vendors. You pay your vendors before you pay yourself. And the reason why is because they're all small business owners too. We all depend on each other. And you want them to answer the phone the next time you call. That's your words, your bond. You make those two payments first. If there's other things to deal with later, you deal with those later, but those are things you cannot backtrack from.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't want to work for somebody that doesn't pay me for the work that I put in. And I know as being a small business owner myself, how important and how crucial it is to pay your bills on time, to pay your crews on time, and to appreciate those people. Because we'd rather grow and create an honest friendship with the vendors, with our subcontractors, with our clients, with our potential home buyers, whatever industry that you're in. Maintaining your word, honesty, integrity, and courage above all is going to take you to the next level in your business. You may think that cutting a corner right now just to make ends meet is going to benefit you, but we need to think business isn't a short-term game, it is a long-term event.
True. But you know what? That actually broaches something out there because we've got a lot of likes on that. Integrity, but account management, that might be something that we do later on in its own subject, because sometimes there's times in a business where you need to let it flow to make the minimum payment because you've got to make payroll. Which is why I like how you said that. You pay your vendors and you pay your payroll.
Yeah.
Sometimes things have to slide. Sometimes money's a little bit tight and we've got to tighten up the belt. I like how you prioritize that, but how to keep things rolling, how to keep things like inventory management. I'm sure you get that a lot as well. You probably have a lot of material to go through.
Absolutely. Fortunately, if you build the right relationships from the beginning, and you have your things in place, if you have a plan in place, it's a little bit less difficult for you to fail versus failing to plan. So what is something we can take away today, Casey, when it comes to being on our own, starting our own business? Should I just run out there and get any lawyer and say, hey, I want to put you on retainer, and just because somebody told me it was important to have a lawyer? What is my responsibility as a business owner in being able to do my homework and due diligence with a business law firm?
Well, here's what I say. A lawyer has an obligation. It's not like Starbucks. If you want a $5 coffee, I have an obligation to tell you you might be better off going to get the $2 coffee at the quick stop. That's the fiduciary obligation a lawyer has to you. Do you need a lawyer on retainer at all times? I would say for the most part, most business owners, no. Business owners who are in high-risk businesses may want to engage a lawyer on a more regular basis, and I have some clients like that, and they're in the fuel services business. There's a lot of things that can go wrong in that industry, for example, but that's not exactly what I would say. Most importantly, is just don't ignore problems. I've spoken a lot about being proactive. Don't ignore lawsuits. Don't ignore problems. Get in front of them.
That's good advice.
It looks like we got a guy here who wants to, Rick with Republic Services wants to ask a quick question. What do we got, Rick?
Yeah, Casey, Veterans Day is around the corner, and thank you, all of you guys, for what you've done for us. But the question I have is, how did your time served help build your foundation to become who you are today?
That's an outstanding question. So how did your time in the Coast Guard help build a foundation for your success?
Thank you, Rick. Chuck LeBeau did a great video for the American Legion, and it was fantastic, and it's out on the Facebook right now. Thank you, Chuck, and PR firm. One thing that I noticed that was almost uniform in what everybody said was that the service was the beginning of our service to this nation. It was not when we took the uniform off. That's not when we got our honorable discharge and we walked out the door. That's not when our service ended. That was when the rest of our service commenced. And that change was forever. It's profound. It's indelible, and it was an honor. So, I'm privileged to be a member of the Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance, the Terry Fisher American Legion Post 117, and your friends.
And we're honored to have you, but I totally brought something up there. Happy birthday, Navy, brother.
Yes. Happy birthday, shipmates out there.
Happy birthday, Navy.
243 years sailing around the world. You know what I mean? You guys gotta love it.
And happy birthday, brown water.
All right, yeah.
So
Ours was a little sooner.
Our time?
Ours was in the summer.
You get to celebrate the Navy birthday just simply because you both,
we have boats.
Troll around on dinghies all day. I didn't know how that goes.
If you guys are just tuning in.
If you haven't figured out, Aaron was a camper. He was a camper.
Wish I could have shipped maple syrup back and forth between Canada and the United States like you boys.
Yeah.
But whatever gets the job done at the end of the day.
Yeah, right. He wanted to dodge grenades or something.
So here at Rockwall Veteran Business Alliance, we offer this free information to whoever's willing to listen. Because I know when I started my business 10 years ago, I had to make all these simple mistakes that we're trying to find out today. So it's important, if you have somebody that's getting ready to take that next step in their life and want to create their own business, become an entrepreneur, maybe chase one of their passions or dreams, have them tune in. Have them come up here to the Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance here at Wood Creek. It's the third Wednesday of every month. Like Rick stated, Veterans Day is right around the corner. On November the 8th here in Rockwall at the Performing Arts Center. There's a great tribute.
Utley Middle School.
Utley Middle School.
Yeah, and can I speak to that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got a couple of things planned. Not only are we going to have an honor guard, we are blessed to have the Rockwall Stinger, which is a some of y'all have heard of the acapella, which is singing without a band for us, for you Marines. Anyway, there is a new a cappella group. It's called Sting or Stinger. I may be missaying that, so Chris, I'm sorry about that, but they are going to be performing. We have a wonderful patriotic medley. We are also going to be privileged to have the Honorable John Roach, who is the presiding judge of the North Texas Regional Veterans Court Program, which serves, if my memory is correct, it is now 7 total counties are involved in the North Texas Veterans Court. And Judge Roach and this organization, which was spearheaded by Mr. Peter Lynch, who is also a member of Terry Fisher Post 117, back in Dallas a few years ago. We're just privileged to be part of that, and he's going to be speaking to us on this Veterans Day celebration about what's going on with the Veterans Court, about the Valor Program, and this commitment to leave no veteran behind. And for veterans who have had a brush with the law or who have had some adversity in life, alcohol, drug addiction, you're not dealing with PTSD, you go down to the VA and they're like, look kid, you got 10 problems, here's 10 opioids. These young men and women, sailors and service members are coming back and they're not dealing with the trauma in the most positive way, and this program is a commitment to leave none of these people behind and to help them find a way to fight these battles, to give them the resources they need. He's going to be talking to us about that, and then we're going to have a closing ceremony. So please join us.
He's a Marine.
And he's a Marine.
He gets it.
Right, he gets it.
He's tough, but he's fair. He gets it. People connect to him. Good dude.
Right. The concert is at 1600. Social reception starts, and then at 6 p.m. for Air Force.
That's 1800. If you're in the Coast Guard, 1800 is 6 p.m. So, just going to throw that one out there.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
It's been a long day. What time are we at?
We've got 5 more minutes.
Okay, so we also have a few other things coming up. The
D-Day for V-Day.
D-Day for V-Day.
On the 9th.
Dr. Lawrence, dentist here in town, Rockwall Rotary, and American Legion Post 117 are putting together a free dental care. We still have some spots available, so if you're looking for just a good teeth cleaning and to meet a great dentist and staff, they've actually got dental assistants and got other dentists coming in.
I'm going. Lord knows I need it. You know?
I went last year. They did great by me, but face it doesn't matter.
Have you seen these George Washingtons?
I mean, look at this. Look at this. Not your average wooden teeth.
Look, these people are doing a great service for us, so please, if you could use a teeth cleaning, just give us a call and we'll get you put into a slot. And they're doing a great service with us. One
other thing, down in Kaufman on the 9th, I believe it's on the 9th, Saturday the 9th, there is a fundraiser for the North Texas Veterans Court at an equestrian. It's on the RVBA page. It's on the Terry Fisher page. There is equestrian therapy for veterans who don't want to deal with PTSD through pharmaceuticals and chemicals, and this is an effective way for them to do it. I've actually had a client who was a veteran who did equestrian therapy, and it basically saved her life. Anyhow, check out my page, the RVBA page, Terry Fisher page. We're doing a fundraiser from 10 to up 2 o'clock for the North Texas Veterans Court. It's also going to be educational if you need to learn about this as a therapeutic avenue that's different from something you may have tried before.
So let me take 2 seconds on that real quick. We'd really appreciate it if you would go on to Facebook. That is the most interactive way that we can get a hold of you, that we can actually update any of our information. And then we should have a YouTube channel up here live where we can take some of these really good messages that are taught by our leaders in the Rockwall community and put them out there and make sure that they're available. So if you can, please go to the RVBA page, Rockwall Veteran Business Alliance on Facebook, and give us a like. You can also find us at the Terry Fisher Post 117. Like that as well. Our community is very, very tightly knit. So usually when we're putting one thing together, we're putting a lot of things together. So when you like them, we don't waste your time with spam or frivolous messages. Usually we're trying to keep you abreast of what's going on in the Rockwall community. So if you'll just please give us a like, that way we can keep in constant contact and you're never wondering, wonder what the veteran community's up to this month, or what events are coming around.
No doubt, Aaron. That's great information, great knowledge. Hey, and one small thing, if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, and you got something on your mind, and you have a topic that you want maybe highlighted that you just can't figure it out, drop us a message. We'll be happy to give freely of any business ideas, strategies, coaching, whatever you guys need to help your business become successful. All right? So Mike Radigan, we're out of here. Aaron Withrow, Casey Ashmore, we thank you guys.